Yo ho, all hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the third episode of the Bad and Mead podcast for 2026. I'm your host Dylan, and today I'm joined by the best co-host in the world, Declan. How are we doing today, matey?
Good, mate. How are you? You've got the biggest smirk on your face right now. What has happened over the weekend?
Oh, did someone say KFC?
And an elegant left foot shot. Oh, he's got it! The kid has won the game! Ethan Sanders in his first game as Canberra's first choice number.
Oh, Colonel Sanders stepping up when it mattered most. The 1-point field goal, as cool and calm, as collected as you will ever see a playmaker be. 22 years of age, and stepping up on the biggest of stages in round one at 4 Pines. It doesn't get bigger than that. Oh, what fantastic to see him kick one.
It does, and it just shuts up all the haters, eh? All that chatter in
Shush.
the off-season, what a loss Jamal Fogarty would be. And, we had it tough, to be fair, that first 10 minutes. But to see, someone who is, hopefully, fingers crossed, our long-term number 7 step up under pressure as the first choice halfback as in the Raiders side.
Yeah, he was cool, calm, and collected, wasn't he? Like we haven't seen a halfback step up the way Ethan Sanders has stepped up. Fogarty in clutch moments, we haven't really seen him step up the way we wanted to see him step up. But I think that Sanders has obviously injected himself with clutch, and he just took the clutch play when no one was pushing up on him. No pressure whatsoever. He just said, you know what, I'll take this opportunity. Bang, slot it over for one. And cool, calm, and collected. That's what we've been waiting for, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, to think it got to that stage where it got to extra time and to have someone like this,
Oh, God.
having not much NRL experience in a big pressure play, and then seeing, how the Raiders have been able to, muck up setting up field goals in extra time in years gone prior. It was nearly the most nonchalant sort of
Yeah, 100%. He just stood there.
yeah.
He just said, "This is what I do. This is what I do." Bro, I thought he missed it because I was like, "Oh, he's just standing there."
Yeah.
Like, why has the game not been called? I thought it was like, "Oh, he's missed it." But then the replay showed he got it in. I was like, "Oh, that was so nonchalant." He's just he just seems like a clutch player that we've been waiting for, and it should not have got to that standard, to be honest, though. So, like, being up to win only by 1, I thought we would have won by like 18 or 14 towards the way we were going, or the way momentum we had kept going through the middle. I thought we would have put a lot more on them in that second half, but yeah, I don't think it should have got to Golden Point, but at least we'll take a win, round 1 win. That's what you need. Just get on there early, get the first 2 points of the year, and it just feels nice to get that 1 win.
Yeah. It was sort of anticlimactic in the way that Golden Point period finished, like really underwhelming, just how fast it went. Normally you'd see two sides go to and fro with kicking for distance, putting in a few bombs to each other. But the way we orchestrated that set, when offload from Joey Taps to Kyle Weeks, who made about an extra 10-15 metres, and then having Starling on the field as like a running middle, managed to get that quick play of the ball straight away to Sanders, who was standing flat-footed, and it was only Jake Trbojevic, in his cute little headgear, he was putting pressure. Like, it's pretty unbelievable. And, like, being at the end to witness it, like, I wasn't even expecting Sanders to even go for the field goal. I was like, oh, here we go. He's just going to go for a bomb. But, he just stepped up and just kicked it. It was amazing. Like,
it was awesome.
And then, like you were saying, like there's a period they were like, "Oh, did it go in?" Like they just sort of stopped, and like that was
Mm.
sort of reflected like with the crowd itself. Like it was so quiet. Like all the Manly fans just utter complete silence when that happened.
Mm.
Like they were shocked, and to do that, obviously against Jamal Fogarty, to sort of to rub it in a way, it's pretty
Got
it's
nice.
pretty good, eh? Doesn't get much better.
100%. I mean, first 10 minutes we didn't touch the ball for, as you said, and I had a look what like the panelists and some content creators, bloke in a bar even said it. They said not having the ball for 10 minutes, like the first 10 minutes, you think that most teams would have rolled over the top of you and you put 18 to 20 points on them if you don't have the ball for. And they're making comparisons saying, oh, the Storm and the Panthers are the only two teams that have really been able to hold out that pressure and then get the ball back, calm it down, and just take set for set and getting back into the rhythm of the game, you know? And now we're being compared to like, oh, wow, they've actually like woken up and gone, okay, we can take on this pressure. Let's just continue playing how we're playing. Let's not overplay our hand. Let's just take it as it is, as it comes to us. And I just was like, wow, okay, we're being compared to these Melbourne Storm and Penrith Panthers type teams. And you just go, wow, that's pretty crazy. 10 minutes, no ball, but yet we still come back from 14-0 down and yeah, win 29-28. It's pretty unreal.
Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? And I mean, a lot of that, can sort of be set on our discipline coming out of when Manly were coming out of their own end. Like there were a lot of calls which put us on the back foot and gave Manly a massive leg up over and over again. And like, you can sort of sit there and complain here and there, but so minus the Trebojevic try, I thought we defended very, very well. Like on our line, even the other Kawatu one was sort of unlucky. Like you're kicking toward a guy like Jason Saab, he's just such an aerial target. That was sort of unpreventable, in a sense.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And even 14-0, like to be able to stay in that contest for just a little bit while longer, is a good sign. I think at least to start the season.
Yeah, it's been looking good, hasn't it? I also have to point out that our bench forwards as well, like when Papa went off, was it 10 to 15 minutes in the game? I was like, oh no, here we go. One of our middle forwards, our main middle forward, is off for the rest of the game now. Like we're in a bit of trouble. Tarpany, extremely quiet. Our captain was real quiet, which I haven't seen in a long time, to be honest. And then Hosco going for that 15-minute period where he had to get a HIA as well. I was going, oh, here we go. There was our bench forwards, Mariota and Horsburgh wasn't on the bench, but Mariota and Smitty's I thought were phenomenal for us. Smitty's just doing his job the way he's always done. He's looked really good. I thought off the bench, just tightens our ruck up, make sure the defense doesn't get past. He's just a solid pom, just solid in the middle. Hosco, awesome, very awesome. We always prefer him to be in the forward role rather than being in second row, and I'm glad that Ricky has seen that. But yeah, Mariota, another one who was fantastic as well for us. But if you told me that Tarpany has a very quiet game and Papa goes off with a HIA, I go, no, we don't win this game. So fantastic to see the bench boys getting up and getting going for the first round.
It was really good. I think that was super impactful. Even Horsburgh having to play bigger minutes, and maybe that is the goal from Ricky, but he ended up playing more minutes than Tarpany, which we might have seen at occasions last year. But to see what an impact they were able to have in that middle period of the game was super good. I think Ricky's idea of having those mobile forwards, when the opposition's starting to tire, is just such an advantage. I think. And then it's quick play of the balls. Like Hoskins got such a fast play of the ball. I thought him and Mariota and Smithies were great. To sort of get us back into the game and gave us a bit of momentum going forward for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I think one of the biggest sort of talking points would have been Noah Martin, especially early in that game. Like not much happening, and I think that this is evident in both of his tries, to be honest. Like he got that pass from Ethan Sanders, which was back underneath. Now, whether Sanders noticed there was space in there or not, it was Martin who basically just was able to charge back onto that ball and managed to just slam it down, which got us back into the game from the get go.
Yep.
And even in the second try, like running onto Kyle Weeks' pass, running a beautiful line, running onto the ball, is what you want from your second rowers, a really good line running, edge forward.
But even his defensive work as well in there, Dill, 48 tackles, 0 missed.
No missed tackles.
Wow.
It's
Unreal
insane.
from him.
Mhm.
For your first starting game, well, your second starting game, I know you started for the Dolphins, but this is technically the first starting game he's had with the first grade team.
That's right.
Fantastic. He's been very, very well kept secret from Ricky. Playing New South Wales Cup, he wasn't getting much attention, and then all of a sudden, you go, you know what? We'll pick your starting team, second row, because we reckon you're ready. And best kept secret, I reckon, from the Raiders and from Ricky. Stick's done a real good job. So yeah, Noah Martin going to be a fantastic footballer. We can definitely see that. And in my opinion, I think he will stay at the number 12 for the rest of the year. I really don't see Nicholson getting back into the side. Unfortunately, he's been a bit unlucky. Yes, he's a fantastic player, but Noah Martin looks to be there long term. Where these pommies that we bring over here, they don't look to stay for that long. The only one that we had was probably Elliot Whitehead, but I'm really keen to see how Noah Martin goes for the rest of the season. I hope he stays there.
You just listen to Ricky's comments about how he really took full advantage of this preseason. Like, he was fully fit. Like, he wasn't coming back from an injury per se. So, I think Ricky's basically given Hoskin the nod that he's going to be a full-time middle this year, which I think was the right call. And then Nicholson's sort of still, coming back. So yeah, he's
re-injuring his shoulder.
Yeah. So he's just taken the opportunity with open arms, and hopefully he makes the most of it. Well, it sounds of it. It's only one game, but it's sort of might have been a well kept secret from Ricky. Like he scored 15 tries in 19 games in New South Wales Cup last year, and I think this game he only had 9 touches of the ball, 9 runs. And
that's unreal.
I think this will be a stat you'll see quite often is a lot of his touches will come out in tries one way or another. So he's really going to make the most of it. You're just sniffing in and around the ball. So yeah, fantastic performance from Noah Martin to start the season.
Yeah, most definitely. Moving on to the other side of the field, Dill, we had Hutto Young. We know how good of a competitor he is. We know how just in general, how he is a perfectly built second rower. He's got footwork, he's got strength, but he's also got eyes up footy awareness. That kick he put in for Savage, yes, it probably came off the wrong side of his foot, was unbelievable. You don't see many second rowers going, I'll chip and chase here and backing themselves. He had perfect eyes up footy. He saw that the fullback was displaced. Tom Trbojevic was in the line. He said, okay, I'll pop one over the top. And Savage, being the way he is, fantastic. He saw, he's kicking to me now. That's going to land in my hands and chased it. But he's just, the thing with Hutto Young, he's just extremely consistent. Like, he has not had, I don't remember him having a bad game in ages. Like, he's always got over 100 run meters. His tackle breaking ability is unbelievable. And he's just always around the ruck and he always wants to get the ball in his hands. I think he was just fantastic. Like, I reckon he's up there for player of the match.
Yeah. He was chaotic on both sides of the ruck, like just taking carries up the middle. He put a couple nice fends on Jamal. It was good to see. I think Jamal came back and had a good big smile on his face, which is a bit of a good banter to see. But yeah, I think he's sort of taken it upon himself to become a leader in the Raiders forward back Hudson. So consistency is one of the most important things. Coming with that, instead of having maybe a 9 out of 10 performance this week and then dropping to a 4, being consistent. If you can do a 7, like a 7 out of 10 performance every week or 8,
100%.
that's how we get the most out of him. And we didn't see a lot of his combination with Sanders,
No.
but that'll develop for sure. And like you said, that chip over the top, that's just eyes up footy, just complete game awareness to put that in, and for it to pull off was so good. Like in wet conditions, that was awesome. And then that
Pretty
sort of
tough.
moves on to our next guy, Xavier Savage, who started the game off a bit rocky, I would say. We're in the back foot that early part, and he came up with a knock on a dummy half, which is kind of unforgivable in first grade. I'm sure Ricky wasn't happy about that. And then he had that bomb try. I'm not going to wouldn't criticize him too much
Very
for
tough.
that, because very hard to pick up when he's coming in at that speed, and then you've got to consider the conditions as well. The ball's wet. Probably should have scored it though, in all honesty, if he had to slow it up. But
Agree.
look, honestly, take that away. I thought he was outstanding, really.
Mhm.
I thought under the high ball he was fantastic, but his biggest play of the game for sure was coming up with the ball after Jamal Fogarty missed that field goal, like right at the
Yeah.
end. Like if he doesn't do that, I think like Manly was steaming through anyway. Like very very like highly likely that they could have scored. To be honest, so yeah, I think that was a big one. Like how he was able to just dive on the ball, and then those 2, nearly 3 tries he scored. Yeah, was great. And I mean, that's sort of the standard you expect from a winger. But I love that. Plus, his carries in through the middle were good and looked like how he was, how he's been playing the last few years. So yeah, really, really excited about Savage for this year.
Yeah, he looks a lot bigger as well than he did last year as well. I think he's put a lot more muscle on. But stats in front of me says he had 8 tackle breaks, so 1 less than Tamale, which is pretty good when our wingers are like bulking up and bumping off players and stepping them and using their footwork to their advantage. But just one more thing about Hudson Young. Just one more thing. I just wanted to say that try he assisted to Xavier Savage, he was not even on the right side of the field. He switched all the way over. He came all the way over from the other side of the field just to go, give me the ball, put a kick in. Like that's, I don't know. Like he's just switched from the other side of the field and just used his eyes up footy again. He used his awareness and said, no, I'm going to be on this side of the field because I know I can create something here. I thought that was fantastic. And obviously Savage, his speed and his footwork is just unbelievable. It's just gone to another level this year, which is really good to see, because I was hoping Xavier Savage would have a good year because there's plenty of good wingers behind him and good outside backs. So it's good to see him have a good strong start of the season.
Yep, unreal from Hutto. His attack's always continually improving each year. Moving on to another guy who I thought was massive in this game, running for 189 meters, was our right centre, Simi Sasangi. There's a lot of talk going into this game, sort of about whether he could establish himself as a centre who is more suited to that utility role, edge back row, sort of thing. And I don't think this game necessarily established that or not, but I thought his carries in through the middle were terrific, and he's like one of those guys. Like you sort of compare him to a Timoko, and he's just a lot more solidly built. Like he has the ability to just run through defenders. He's got that great late footwork as well. And I think he made nearly a half break in the second half, and I think he also had some good hands for one of Savage's tries as well, which is really good. Yeah, he was sort of found out in defence probably later in the match. Like Kohler pretty much just stood him up once he got on the outside and scored the first try. Look, although Sasangi probably should have made the tackle, I mean, if you had a look at that play, Manly had like at least a 2-man overlap, so Raiders were short on defenders that side, so can't be too mad at him there. But yeah, I thought he was awesome.
100%. He was that tackle that he had on Lehigh Hopewadi was another standout. I thought. I know they did score off of it, but it was a huge point of the game. But no, Simi. I always said that Simi is more of a center than he is a second rower, and I will continue to say that because he was very impressive. Having a most run meters 189, but he's only played a couple games in the centers is pretty impressive. Like, he just absolutely fantastic. And he's really making it his place to stay in the centers. I don't know if hopefully we see Timoko back, but I'm really enjoying Simi playing in the centers. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Another guy I thought was unreal was Sav Tamale. 9 tackle breaks. I thought he was awesome, getting us out of our own 20 meter zone in attack, and he was just so deceptively strong. And just continue from his form from last year. I thought he was super good. It was a play Fogarty put a chip over the top into the corner, and he managed to get from the in goal outside, and that was a massive play to get us sort of on the front for that set during that part of the game. And he was awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like in most circumstances of the game, when we were in trouble, we just said, "Here, Sav, you take it up." And it just every time he had the ball, more meters, break tackles. Like, he was just our get out of jail free card. Like, he was absolutely fantastic through the middle. And I just love watching him play. He's just so strong, as you said, so deceptively strong.
Yeah, for sure. And even look at parts of the game. The back end of the first half, I think we had a few missed opportunities to score points. Although we didn't have the ball for the first 10 minutes or so, I thought there was probably a few chances that were missed scoring points. I thought we looked quite sharp in attack during that period, and we very well could have scored points. I think Manly's defence held us out pretty well. Wasn't a huge concern though. I mean, it was an 8-point lead going to half time for Manly. And then I think you probably agree with me as well. One of the biggest turning points was Noah Martin's try in the second half, running onto that Weeks pass. And then that really gave us some momentum going into the rest of the second half, 100%.
Yeah, most definitely. If you're a young rookie, coming through the ranks in the second row, you look at Noah Martin, you go, this is what you should do, because he just pushed up on every single play. And like you said, that was 100% the turning point in that game. Not many second rowers push up the way Noah Martin did to score that try. And that put us right in the box seat, because we just rolled set for set after that. We just had 6 again after 6 again. And our outside backs just rolled through the middle, which kind of reminded me of I know this is a bit of a stretch, but it kind of reminded me of the Panthers back in 22 to 24, where they just had their back three, Edwards, Taruva, and Brian To'o just rolling through the middle. And it just reminded me, going, Tamale and Savage just put their hands up, and Weeks put their hands up. Yeah. That Tarpany offload where Weeks charged through, and then Hutto Young puts that chip kick in. You go, wow, that just reminded me of how the Panthers won 5 in a row. That dynasty that they had.
Oh, for sure. It's just, put your head down and go. That was so committed at getting upfield in all of their sets. Even running into gaps, which is, we haven't done that in attack for a while. It's, you usually play just very, very conservative, which I don't think is the way to go in the modern game. It's you've really got to be, trying to stay on top by scoring more points.
Attack.
In some cases, and I think that's where Weeks came into play. He was able to run into some gaps. I think Starling got out from dummy half and put him through a hole, and that was when it ended up with one of Savage's tries. Weeks' positioning for a lot of that game was fantastic. He was he was certainly up for it. Trying to dodge a few of Fogarty's bombs would have been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But like I think he handled that pretty well and was pretty composed. And sort of backed up from where he left up last year, which is great to see. Because that's one thing with their younger players, are they going to be able to stand up again? And I think he showed that
Yep.
he's definitely up for it for sure.
Mhm.
Now, one thing we probably should talk about is now we had a 14-point lead going into the back end of that game. Let's talk about how, if you think the Rays were too conservative during that period of time, like, do you think they could have managed that differently to try and score more points, or if that was just purely a defensive sort of deficiency which occurred?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, like we're up by up by 2 at this stage, right, of the match. You know, you go, okay, we're down their line. Colin knocks on off the back of Corey Horsburgh's defensive play, which knocked the ball loose, and we've got a minute and a half left. You go, oh, surely we go on the attacking front, launch up a kick, or try something different rather than just taking settlers the whole time. You know, like getting a dummy half, just running up. It's really frustrating to watch. You just go, just close the game out. Just close the game out with a try, put a kick in. Don't run on the last, get tackled, then we defend. Because I feel like every time we do that, every single time that we do that, we concede in the last 30 seconds of the game. 9 out of 10 times we have done it. That Broncos game is a prime example of us doing it. And this game here is another prime example of us doing it. It's just so frustrating that we're up by 2, but yet we just seem to be conservative the whole last minute of the game. It's like, no, they still have a chance to attack us with the ball. And Collar was so threatening, and our right side was just in shambles.
Yeah, no, sort of just we go into our own shell anyway. Like, you know, you sort of see that period where we're up by, you know, that significant margin, and I think there was a few plays there where we'd run it on the last, and just sort of stop playing in a sense, and like we don't have to win by more than 14 points. Like there was only only 5 minutes to go. Like that would have been like, you know, Melbourne, you would expect them to hold them out, right? But you know, after that first Kohler try, I mean, look, they spread it nearly off the kickoff. It was first tackle.
Yeah.
They spread it straight away. And then all of a sudden, the Rays aren't going to want to try anything extreme. So when they did have the ball, with, what was it, a couple minutes to go, about a minute to go, and they were just running it, you know, 1 out runs, and then just ran it on the last, it's not really putting, you know, the opposition to bed. Like, you're not putting the game to bed either. Like,
Yeah, not at all.
you've still got a game to be played, and then, you know, Manly were able to just march up field straight off that. And you know, unfortunately, you know, penalties occurred. They were definitely offside. I mean, I've seen screenshots which show the referee had him back maybe 12 to 15 meters, which doesn't look, you know, quite right, to be fair. So
the first game of the season, we can take into consideration that we should obviously let them off a bit, but I feel like this is a warning sign, you know? This is like being like, okay, this is something that we can work on for the rest of the season. This is a warning sign. This is what we'll go over. We'll fix it up, and we'll be gearing and ready to go in round 2. He will most definitely get his playbook out and go, okay, boys, this is what we got to work on for this season. We know we've got found out late in 2025, but obviously we've been found out again in round 1. Let's work on it. Look back through it, have a take a look what we need to work on, why our right side defense isn't working, why we're not shuffling. But only round 1 signs, you know, I think we'll clean it up by the time round 3, 4, 5 comes along. So I think we'll be all sweet. Yes, there's a couple warning, but I think we'll be fine. The Raiders, we know Sticky, we know he'll work on it.
Yeah, I suppose the biggest worry sort of is just how fast, looking at how fast Manly were able to score those points. Like,
yeah,
and that is the type of team they are. Like, they can flick the switch like that. You know, having to defend for that long period of time, and then to be on the attack like that, with not much possession under their belt in that second half, and then scoring 2 quick tries. So that it doesn't like that scoreline just doesn't reflect the game, and it upsets me, unfortunately. And you can't complain all the time about that.
Mm.
Like the competition's very close. There's a lot of good sides, but yeah, I just think that the defense during that part of the game, once the Raiders get up to a decent lead, needs to be on point, because I feel that'll be the Achilles heel going to the rest of the season, and then reflecting on one of their bad habits last year. It just makes it that bit harder to sort of compete in big games consistently.
Yeah, most definitely, Dill. Now, moving on, who do you think from this game? Obviously, we've gone over some of our problems in the side and some of our attacking strengths of the side, but who do you think stood out to you the most? Who grabs this Eye of Odin award on the debut award?
Yeah.
Eye of Odin award from us. Who we're thinking?
So first and foremost, probably should explain the Eye of Odin award. So Odin is, the almighty god in Norse mythology. Obviously, we are Canberra Raiders podcast, so we're going to have something Viking Norse mythology based. And then the Eye of Odin is sort of reflects a sign of wisdom, and we're going to be basically demonstrating that through our MVP of each match for each week. And I was sort of ummed and ahed. I think there's a lot of underrated options. I thought Tamale was our best player of the first half, if I'm going to be honest. I just thought his carries out of our own end were amazing. Tom Starling is another one who I was so close to giving to. Like, he's electric at a dummy half all the time. And I think he really was able to control that game. Noah Martin, obviously, but limited touches. I'm going to have to go Ethan Sanders, and I don't want to be boring.
Yep.
And I mean, if you're going to talk about for the full 80 minutes, was he our best player? Probably not. But the pressure he had on his shoulders up against Jamal Fogarty, like we spoke about before, the former Raiders halfback, going into extra time and to execute the way he did was just something that you don't see from halfbacks his age. Like, it was fantastic. And like, to have no trials under his belt either. Ricky's had him wrapped up in cotton wool. And like, I thought he combined with Strange fantastic. I don't know what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously we know that they've played a bit of footy, coming through the juniors and whatnot, coming through New South Wales under 19s. But I thought he looked really sharp. He was playing both sides of the ruck as well. He had hands in Savage's try. He turned Noah Martin back underneath, and then we also were able to see his running game in play, like how he was able to dummy showed it underneath and dummy to Joe Tarpany and then score straight under the sticks. Was a good sign. I think halfbacks who are able to take on the line in today's game is what you need to have. You need to have halfbacks who aren't afraid of running the ball, and I think that's one of the strengths he might be able to pick off the top of Fogarty.
Yes.
Yep, for sure. And then even his ability to dig into the line and create that space on the outside. I think that's one of his main strengths as well. So look, I can't pass him, to be honest. Just his composure and maturity that was shown.
Yeah, you've hit the nail straight on the head, Dill. Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And you couldn't go past Ethan Sanders, the Colonel stepping up when it matters most. And no, I completely agree. So he picks off our debut Eye of Odin award. Big deal. We've also got another Viking Shield award. So this is awarded to, we believe, our best defensive play. That tackle on Kola was really, really important in that game. If he goes through the line there, he probably goes over for another try and they merely win the game. But he knocks the ball free, which gives the Raiders possession. But Dill, who wins the best defensive play?
Yeah, I suppose this is a little bit of a vague one. I think this award basically reflects a tackle or defensive play just in general. When the Rays don't have the ball, you know, which made out to be a massive turning point in the match, was super impactful. So you go through a few. Sasangi had a great try saver on Hopewadi, going down the sideline, like you said, Horsburgh. Ethan Strange had a few good tackles on Olakawasa early in the match. But I think this week we're going to have to give it to Xavier Savage, who came up with a very important catch, cleaning up the ball after Jamal Fogarty misses that field goal. If he doesn't clean that up, I think Manly... I mean, there was a player coming through. There's a big chance of somebody scoring in that situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. Thought Savage's play was absolutely fantastic. Another player we've already highlighted was obviously Noel Martin. Was really, really solid in the middle as well. But man, Savage, like you said, there was two kick chases on the ball. KOX was behind them. And if he doesn't clean that ball up, Manly score. They probably win that game off a crazy, crazy ending. But Savage comes and saves the day like he always does. And he just, overall he had a fantastic game and most definitely deserved the Viking Shield Award.
Yeah, for sure. And look, there's one other thing I thought we should talk about this game. It's something that Channel 9 brought up now on the footy show. Now, they had Jamal Fogarty on the show. Whether that was planned or not, surely it would have been. So maybe their prediction, anyway, possibly that was premeditated and Manly were going to win. But I thought it was great having you on in the show. That was a nice gesture. He says some nice things about Ricky and about their relationship. Ricky came up to Jamal after the game. Apparently it was only because they won. It's fair enough. I reckon he was straight up the tunnel if the Rays had lost, had the shits.
Yep.
During that segment, they had a caption on the bottom of the screen. It said, turbocharges Manly towards opening round win. And
wow.
It was Manly hold off Raiders in close defeat, in close game.
Mm-hmm.
How could you possibly get that wrong? It's got to be the media guys just not watching any of the Saturday games,
absolutely,
or just making an error. But that's just mind-boggling to me. So strange.
We always seem to get the I don't know. It feels like Channel 9 dead set hate us. At times I feel like, Ricky came out and said it last year. He said, well, why are we not getting any free-to-air games this year? What? This doesn't make any sense, Obviously this year they've gone, minor premiers, so I guess we have to give more free-to-air games. But it dead set thinks that Channel 9 hates us. But thank you for the Sydney Milk Syndicate for spotting that because, no one likes the Raiders, I guess, on Channel 9, but they screwed that up big time.
Pretty embarrassing. On the other hand,
very.
saw on Fox League with Cooper Cronk praising Ethan Sanders for his performance. For a guy who's won 4 premierships, played plenty of international and rep footy. That's super, super big raps coming from a guy like him towards Ethan Sanders, towards a rookie, and how he was talking about how how Sanders was able to stand up in that play proves that the Raiders could be in for another big year. And so I thought that was nice to see the Raiders getting some recognition for some of their junior development and recognising that Sanders has got that humbleness about him, his maturity, and how that's been acknowledged by past players who certainly know a lot about the halfback position and sort of how that develops throughout their career. And that was, big praises from Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, pretty special to get a praise from a player that's played so much Origin footy and international footy, but along with club-based footy as well. It's pretty big to see. Fantastic. I'm glad we're getting the recognition. He's getting the recognition he deserves. So, fantastic to see. Nailed on the head.
Yeah, definitely. It's great. Okay, so now we'll move on to Sticky's notebook for round 2 for 2026. All right, so moving on to our round 2 preview. We have the Raiders up against the New Zealand Warriors at Go Media Stadium in Auckland, New Zealand. The Raiders have won their last 3 games against the Warriors, and the Warriors are also aiming for a 2-0 start for the first time since 2018.
Wow.
So yeah, always great to take a game across the ditch to New Zealand with a lot of New Zealand born and bred players. So that's always good to see. There's a lot of players going back home. They get to play in front of their families and home crowd, which is great. What did you think of the Warriors' start of the season, Declan? How did you assess their performance over the Roosters? I thought it was personally very impressive.
Oh man, I was surprised. I was not expecting the Warriors to show up like that. Like they were absolutely fantastic. Yes, they got the rub of the green, but they dominated the Roosters. The Roosters are like up there for minor premiership contenders, and for the Warriors to just pick them apart like it was nothing I loved it. I just sat there and went, oh, this is great. I love seeing teams demolish the Roosters. I think the Warriors look really threatening and will no doubt make their home their fortress this season. They look quite scary. I thought their forward pack was absolutely phenomenal. Their halves, Tanner Boyd, poof, what a game. Kind of the same as Sanders. Can he back it up for round 2? We will see. But man, the Wars were absolutely fantastic, and they came out in numbers as well to support their team, and they looked solid as for this year.
Yeah.
They might be a dark horse team this year.
Yeah. Obviously, you take the home crowd advantage into consideration, but you don't just attack like that out of nowhere. Like they ran rings around the Roosters. Like very, very impressive to have Tanner Boyd there as their backup halfback. I thought, he managed the game really well. I think they look really, really sharp in attack with him and Harris Tavita. And then, always good to see the Roosters get towed up every once in a while to sort of shut them up, which is a bit of fun.
Look, no one likes. To be honest, I hate the Roosters. I'm not gonna lie. Right, just don't even get me started. I won't even get onto that. But it was really nice. It was really soothing to see the Wars beat the Roosters. It felt like a therapy session. It's quite nice. It's quite nice and therapeutic to watch them absolutely destroy them. So up the Wars, great work.
Yeah, they've been a side which I know we've won our last 3 games, but especially with Sean Johnson's side, we've struggled. Like they've really been a bogey side. Like they're always like showing up and playing. With that great encounter last year in New Zealand, where Fergie scored a match-winning try, but they always show up.
Oh, absolutely. They're fantastic. The Warriors, that last year's game was probably one of my favorite games of the season from us. We showed grit and determination. But speaking of that game, I thought Tarpany in that game, his captaincy and his leading from the front was superb. Like the Wars, they never back down when they're against the Raiders. Sean Johnson, as you said, has killed us for many upon many years. Thank God he's retired. Thank you. But they're a different breed when they verse men in green. But moving forward from that, Sticky's notebook, we see that Joe Roddy has slid into the 19 as we all suspected. Will he play? Will he not? We're not sure. Tomoko shuffles into the 17. Can slip into the outside back role whenever. Morgan Smitty starts in the front row, which I think is the correct call for the injured Josh Papali'i. And Dane Laurie, will he play a part in this game? I think he might. Dylan doesn't think so. But Simi Sasangi also brings up his 50th game in front of his hometown. So great to see that. So no doubt his family and friends will be there to see that. Dill, Joe Roddy, Dane Laurie, Tomoko, how do you see Sticky using his bench?
Yeah, I kind of saw something like this coming because I still felt like Ricky would have been in 2 minds whether to play Tomoko or not. I think based on Simi's performance last week, I think that Ricky would still be confident in Simi maintaining that centre spot for as long as he needs. I think watching Timoko on New South Wales Cup last year, he definitely looks fit. I don't think his foot looks too much of a worry.
Yep.
It's sort of just whether or not you need to bring him. I think with Big Papa out for this game, I think that's sort of forced his hand to sort of go, oh, well, I know it's Sasangi can play in the back row. Why don't I bring Timoko into the 19 just in case he makes a last minute decision? I can't. I know you've got Joe Roddy there, so look, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day who's where on the bench.
No. No.
I think it just depends if Timoko's fit and he reckons, if Ricky reckons he should play or not.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I think Mokes, no doubt. I feel like Tomoko can only really slip into the centres or on the wing. But I feel like an injury to our halves or to our fullback, I think would see Dane Laurie be slid in there, and I think Tomoko would have to miss out.
Yeah.
That's obvious, like obviously to say. But if no one gets injured, if no centres need to come off his Simi, no second rowers gets tired or gassed, I dead set think we'll see Joe Roddy be placed into that 17 and could be in that front row pack or be slid into the lock forward position. But who knows what stick he's got up his sleeve? He's got a really thick notebook, and no doubt there's heaps of plans in that notebook. So whatever goes wrong, trust in the stick.
That's right. Yeah, like I couldn't see Timoko coming in halfway through the game to play centre. Like I don't think that wouldn't make much sense. Like unless there was an injury or something wasn't going quite right. So I'd say it's one or the other. Whether obviously Timoko starts, Sasangi drops back to the bench, or Sasangi stays and Roddy gets some game time. I think Noah Martin, regardless, I think deserves his starting role. I think you get a lot more out of him starting than coming off the bench. Like, I know you can rotate a few things around, but having him as an 80-minute player is more impactful, and I think Sasangi is a lot better as a bench player than what Martin would provide coming off the bench. So yeah, that's sort of where my head's at.
Great.
But we'll just have to see how that sort of plays out. Thoughts on Smithy starting? Now, there was a few other considerations. Like, if we had one of our main prop forwards out with an injury last year, we would see Mariota remain on the bench because he was realistically an impact guy nearly every week. Like, he was fixed in that position. Hosking was the other one. I think he's pretty good coming off the bench. But yeah, thoughts on Smithy starting at prop in this game?
I really thought Stick would have gone with Adam Mariota just because try to develop his starting game up, and obviously having no Papali'i next year is pretty rough. But I thought it was quite interesting seeing Smitty start at front row. Look, I don't mind it. I don't hate it. He's just solid. He's a solid, gritty, determined pom who just loves to tackle and loves to attack. So, well, he doesn't really like to attack. He's pretty mediocre at that. But you know what I mean. He's just fantastic defensively wise. He's outstanding. He tightens our ruck up. He doesn't miss a tackle. He's just solid through the middle. He just does what he always does, and he's just consistent for the Raiders off the bench. But seeing him start, I think he'll offer the same thing as he does off the bench. But look, don't mind it, don't hate it. Thought we would have seen Mariota in there, but not to be.
Yeah, that is exactly right. I think we have 3 steady middles to start the game, which will lay a good platform, and then we have a few faster, more agile forwards will come off the bench later in the game.
Yep.
I think we've covered that well, regardless. Looks like also, lock and front row, not a huge deal, but I think Ricky likes Horsburgh in that 13 role at the end of the day. Now, moving on to this Warriors side, we'll have a look at our key matchups, our Holmgungs, which we listed last week. So, who are your key matchups for this week, Declan?
One of my key matchups is the Fish versus Tapane. Two of probably the best Kiwi props going around in the comp at the moment. Captain, the captain. It's going to be no doubt an explosive battle. Every time these two come together, they like to biff and to get into it. But we saw what Tapine can offer in these important matchups, especially in New Zealand. We saw him last year. He was just stood tall, and he was awesome. And he was really passionate to lead the Raiders forward pack. But without Josh Papali'i, he's really going to have to put his front foot forward and show these boys of how to get in their heads, how to do everything correctly. Tufts needs to lead them forward, and it's going to be no doubt a tough battle against a frothing Fisher Harris, who's got a fantastic forward pack behind him. But Fisher Harris last season, he averaged 114 meters per game with 5 offloads, while Joey Tapp, listen to this, 144 meters per game and a whopping 44 offloads for 2025. So no doubt we'll see the same again from Joey Taps standing tall. But the Fish and the Taps, let's see how they go.
Yeah, they really are the spiritual leaders for either side, for sure. Just the leadership they provide through the middle. Kind of two different plays in a way. I feel like Fisher Harris has sort of cut back on his yardage carries. He's sort of that fear factor in the way. Like, he's one of the scariest guys to run it in rugby league, like, for sure. Whilst you got Tarpon, he's a bit more flamboyant. He has a lot more offloads, you can see, and he wants to get his hands a bit more dirty, and definitely takes more carries, for sure. But both players are definitely just as impactful. I thought Fish Harris was very strong last week, next to Jackson Ford. Like, Jackson Ford, he ran for nearly 200 meters. Over 200 meters.
It was over 200 meters, yeah.
Yeah, insane. So, Kim, Ford, and Aaron Clark will be, definitely tough opponents to go up against, especially for our forward pack to sort of manage. I think Fisher Harris gets a fast play of the ball. I think that's one of his strengths. Running up and just getting a quick play of the ball. So that's definitely something we've got to manage. And then our other matchup, linking also with the Maori connection, is Ethan Strange and Chanel Harris-Tavita. Look, I thought Chanel Harris-Tavita was fantastic last year for the Warriors, very underrated. He's just such a tough player, such a tough defender. He's sort of been in and out of first grade for a few points, had that break from rugby league. But just overall, he's just very, very skillful. And I think having a game manager halfback like Tanner Boyd at this stage lets him to play his own game. We saw last year he's been able to score 8 tries with 18 try assists. So he's certainly well immersed in like a creative playmaker area. So I think he'll be someone to watch for sure. Ethan Strange, on the other hand, what a standout year he had last year. Coming into more of a responsible role in the team this year. I thought that second half he was able to find himself more into the game against Manly. I thought the first half sort of struggled to get the ball in certain situations, looked to pass, but we saw him, run the ball a little bit more at the second half. Put a bit of footwork on, nearly scored, and then obviously they went off to that left-hand side. And his halves partner, Sanders, scored under the sticks. But both 5'8" have an extremely dynamic running game to start the year. And super keen to see how these two guys go. Who do you reckon has the edge in this battle, Declan?
Oh, definitely Strange. Ethan Strange, I think, has the upper hand. But we saw CHT and what he can do last game. He's very damaging when he runs the ball, and I think, as you said, Tanner Boyd giving him the freedom to be able to run the ball. It'll be interesting to see how Metcalf and him link later in the season. I don't know if it's the right idea. Look, I like CHT, and I like the combination he has with Tanner Boyd, and I think he's obviously freed him up to be able to play his own style of footy next to Tanner Boyd. But No, I think he's had a fantastic start to the season, and hopefully he can keep going the way he's going. But Strange, yeah, he was a bit quieter. I guess you could say he had one of his quieter performances last week. Yes, he was still fantastic, but no doubt, I think he'll rip in
Yeah.
and tear the Warriors to shreds.
Yeah, fantastic for sure. So going on the back of the Manly game, what stuff do you think which we did well in the Manly game, we should continue going on into the Warriors game?
I think I said this before, but just our back three and how they lined up, getting on the front foot really quickly. I really enjoyed that. I think our halves combination, just our combination with our second rowers, hitting holes, just giving the ball, taking a tough carries is number one. But yeah, just our back three. We're just going to have our fullback and our two wingers through Weeks, Savage and Tamale, just to take tough carries when we need it the most, and just to get the ball rolling and just get on the front foot real easy, is where I think we'll win this game. Obviously, missing Papa is pretty tough, but yeah, speed through the middle. We just got to get in the front foot and roll forward.
Definitely. Yeah, and I
Be
think
yourself.
I think the middle part of the game is we were able to find our feet. So if we can match up with their bench, obviously they have a lot of inexperienced middles on their bench, but gun middles at that, your Stowell Smith, your Viamungers, and Halasima, like we know what kind of freaks they are. So yeah, if we can, roll through the sets similar to how we did in the second half last week, I think that'll go a long way to us getting the win. And then if we're able to manage the game, the back end, a little better.
I think we got to hold the ball. Obviously you can see the Roosters, what they did wrong was that they didn't hold on to the ball. They made too many errors. They overplayed their hand. I think we just got to stay cool, calm and collected, which we know Ethan Sanders can do.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to force anything. He just needs to play his style of football. We need to play our style of football and just make no errors.
Yeah.
Just completion rate is the main thing, I think, for us.
We had an 8, considering the conditions last week, we had
80%.
an 80% completion rate, which is pretty good. So that certainly helps. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Auckland, but Friday night, 6 o'clock.
Dewy.
Yeah, quite possibly here in Auckland. Bit predictable weather at North Island of New Zealand. Going into autumn. So yeah, no, it should be really interesting for sure. Now we'll move on to our predicted player of the match and anytime try scorers.
Yeah, all right. So obviously you got the Raiders. The Viking clap will prevail. I think the Raiders will get up 18 points to 10. And I'm going with my man, the T-man, Tommy Starling, to be my anytime try scorer. And no doubt I had to go with our captain, Joey Taps. I think he'll stand tall and he will single-handedly own this Warriors pack, and he'll hand them the loss. But yeah, really hope to see our captain stand tall and really push the boys all the way. But yeah, hoping the Raiders get up by 8, 1-12, 18-10. Dill, what is your predictions? Hit me.
Well, funnily enough, I got half of my predictions right last week. I predicted that Noah Martin was scoring any time try scorer. He got the first try.
Okay, good on you.
So that's one tick in my box right there. I said Tom Starling would get man the match. You got close, I'll tell you that much. Okay, you very well could have given it to him, and no one would be able to argue with it. I'm going to be positive again. I think the Raiders will get their second win of the season. They're in New Zealand. I think they're going to come out on top. And I don't mind your scoreline there, but I'm going to go for a few more points involved. I'm going to go for a scoreline of 28 points to 20. My anytime try scorer will be, let's go, we'll go Simi Sungi, saying that he plays centre. And then my player of the match, we are going to be going Kyle Weeks, our fullback.
Wow.
He'll stand tall
Nice.
at the end of the day. Sasangi in his 50th game as well, we should mention.
Like it.
Yeah, really keen to see how this game goes. Friday, 6 o'clock over there in Auckland. So this is a new segment for our podcast. We'll go through both of our Supercoach teams for each round, see how we went the previous games, and go through our trades each week. So I might start off. Didn't do too bad last week. Got 1,254. Had a few bludgers in the mix. Had Scott Drinkwater, only got 21, who was my vice captain, which
Wow.
wasn't overly flash. So that wasn't great. Nico Hines, 131. Fantastic to see. And Payne Haas got 68. But I had him as captain, so that was double on that account. And there was a few other not too flash scores there with Tom Gilbert in 26, who's in my second row, and then Tarpany got under 50, surprisingly, at prop forwards. I know you got nearly topped the 1,500 spot there, Deck.
Yeah.
You happy overall?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty happy. If I got 1496, my goodness. I vice captain Jacob Krause got me a 99. I was thinking about looping to him, making him my captain of the round and giving the captaincy to Taylor May, who had the bye, but I stuck strong. Then I found out about Jaden Campbell being ruled out, so I had to switch him out, and I bought in Tommy Turbo, and I captained Tommy Turbo because I knew that he loves playing against the Canberra Raiders. So he got me a whopping 208 as my captain, which was pretty nice. Multiple scores over 100. I had Latrell, 113. Cody Walker, 104. Harry Grant, 94. Also had Suafa'alongo at 116. Ponga at 116. Toby Couchman got me 72. Ethan Sanders, 94. I was pretty happy with how my team scored. Only did one trade this week. I thought I had Jacob Laban for the New Zealand Warriors, and I was a bit concerned with how many minutes he was going to get with Lecker on the bench. And obviously it didn't turn out too well for me. I don't think he's going to make me any money, as he only scored 21 points, lower than his break even. So I switched him out, and I brought in our man at the second row, Noah Martin. I thought he's going to go up in price. His break even is negative 64, which is not bad at all. So no, very keen to bring him into my side to see a little bit more money coming through. Dill, what was your trade, if you had any trades this week?
So I think I'm looking at trading out Joey Taps for Corey Horsburgh. Bit of a risk there, just looking at the minutes Corey played last week. He's got, slightly more, 10 to 15 minutes more by the sounds of it. That might change each week, but I've got him as my starting front row along with Haas. I've got Mooney and Martin on my bench in the second row, who I've kept. Martin will definitely be a good pod. He's currently at 250k, and then Mooney will go up in price very soon. He got 94 a couple of weeks ago over in Vegas. Now he's up to 442. Lasati is the other bloke I've still got on my bench. Got about 270 in overall price, but yeah, got his 88 there against the Eels. I think I'm going to keep it safe and just trade out Tarpany. I have Tom Arley on my bench, who not playing any games, so whether I decide to trade him out for a guy like Aaron Mahau from the Titans, I might do. I think I'll keep Gilbert there in the second row for the time being, just to see how he goes for another week. Atkinson didn't do too flash for my flex, but I'm willing to give him and Drinkwater at fullback as well another week. So yeah, I think just the one trade this week, I think. Declan?
Yeah, nice. Who are you looking to captain this week? Who do you have in your mind? Who's your vice captain? And what are you thinking that frontier-wise?
I think I'm going to stick safe. I think I'm going to stick safe with Payne Haas. He's normally pretty consistent each week, so I think I'll keep him as captain. I'm a big fan of Nico Hines as a Supercoach player. So I'm going to have him as my vice, I think.
Very nice.
He had a dream start last week. I think him and Trindle are teeing up very well. And they're in for a big year. And I'm a little bit iffy with Hines because they're up against the Panthers this week. So, that's a bit of a spanner in the works. Chucking him at captain.
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm going to vice captain Harsey. I think he plays on a Thursday. See what score he gets. If he gets a good score, I might loop, and he can take out my captaincy role. But I think I'm going to captain Harry Grant. Now I'm not sure. I'm actually quite stuck with who I should captain and who I should vice captain. But Storm versus Dragons, I'm going. Yeah, I think Harry Grant's due for a big game, but it was either him or Tom Trbojevic. I don't know. I was kind of sticking between those two. I'm not 100% sure. Seagulls versus Knights. It's quite, comfortable. But I'll just see how Payne Haas goes. If he gets over 100, no doubt I'll be looping to him.
Yep. Not bad. And what about Trilly Mint as well?
Oh, no
First time
way.
he's been allowed in the centre position for, 7 years? Since he was at the Roosters, just about, I suppose. Coming in at 600k, just about, got 113. And that was one of the things I was kind of like, oh, is he going to be just as good at centre? But he got plenty of ball on the weekend and, popped up that massive score, which is awesome.
Yeah, pretty good to see.
Yeah.
Same as Cody. You go?
Yeah, who were your standout centre wings?
Laddie Mitch and Jacob Carraz were my two. I had Setu too as well on there, and Fayamani from the Titans. He got me 54.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, my centre wings aren't too strong, I would say, but they'll make me money. So no doubt
Yeah, at the end of the
they'll
day.
get stronger as the
Yeah.
season goes on.
That's right.
But Cody Walker is worth 399,000 and bought him in for 104 points. He got me, which is not bad at all.
That's good. Yeah, he was quite clinical. But set up a few try assists, try involvements in that match. And I think realistically, these first 2 rounds are just about having a feel around, just to see what your best options are, and just to see who goes up in price, and
No
find a
doubt.
good option, I reckon. So this is our Supercoach breakdown for this week, heading into round 2. Let us know if you like it and you'd like to see more content like this into the future. Thanks all very much for watching. We'll be uploading content in the lead up to the Warriors game on Friday. Fingers crossed this podcast should be out by Thursday. We'll have a crack at uploading on Spotify this week, which should be exciting to sort of branch out our content network even more. And go the Raiders.